Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Sharkbites. Is today I am the Lemon Shark is hosting this episode today, joined by my other two co-hosts, Mako
Oh,
and Hammer.
Hi,
Uh,
I
the
love how
lemon
you
shark.
yeah, I love how you do your introductions. Okay.
anyway, so um, last time we spoke, we talked about a certain elf girl show. Um, so today we're talking about another show that also has an elf girl in it called Delicious in Dungeon. Um, I chose this one because it's one that I watched and I really enjoyed and really wanted to talk about it. Um, but yeah, Delicious in the Dungeon, the premise of it is there's this party of people in this fantasy world trying to get through a dungeon and they have no food, so they're cooking up all the monsters as they go along. And it's kind of treated like there is like a plot to it and stuff, but like it's kind of treated as like a cooking slice of life anime, but like with the Dungeons and Dragons twist to it. Um, but yeah, and I guess the main plot is they're trying to find the character's sister, but that's besides the point. The more important part is the cooking of the monsters and stuff. So,
Gosh dang it. Okay, whatever.
anyways, so yeah, so last time we went through some questions. Uh, First question I want to ask is did the show make you guys feel anything? And I guess I'll go first since I'm hosting the show. But I'd say yes. I kind of came there more for the comedy and just yeah, it was more of a comedic show, and it was more fun watching like the characters be themselves. And I really like how character driven it was. But there's also like some very like emotional beats to it too. Like some moments with like flashbacks with between like certain characters and stuff that definitely made me feel something. It didn't make me like bawl my eyes out like shows do, but I definitely felt something while watching it.
Yeah, and like usually when I think, did this make you feel anything? I think of like, did it make you feel awe? Did it make you feel, emotional? Like touched. This one, it was like back and forth between just horror and laughter. Is the best way I can describe it because like the first half of it was kind of lighthearted, like Lemon was saying, they're just going around eating monsters. It's got kind of this quirky cooking element to it where like these are legit recipes. It's just weird ingredients. Like I love cooking, so I'm like I'm watching this dwarf who's kind of their cook prepare all these meals and like, yeah, that's exactly how you would do it. It's just it's just with stuff like griffin meat instead of beef. So, but then halfway through there's this big twist and that's when things get a little bit horrific. So I'm like, there is a fair amount of blood and violence in the show. Like I was surprised. um, it actually wasn't showing up for me on Netflix. I was like, what the heck? Did they take it off? And then I realized there were I'd accidentally set the controls on Netflix to like ban TVMA shows, and that show's rated TVMA to my surprise. Because yeah, it doesn't shy away from death. Like you see there's one point where a character gets shot right in the forehead. But one of the kind of the plot points of the show is that in this dungeon nobody can die permanently. Like as long as their injuries are healed, they'll come back to life right away. So they kind of use that to like to full effect. You see characters get strangled, lose limbs, like I said, get shot in the head, and they just heal it and they keep on going. So it almost becomes like horrific but funny because they just kind of laugh it off, like, "Oh, I'll just revive him." But I mean, they're able to achieve that without it being jarring. Like you never feel like it's just being stupid. It's like they handle it really well.
Yeah, I didn't feel like edgy like some other TV shows where they're trying to do it to be like show how edgy they are, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said something that reminded me of something. I also liked they had like this rule among all the characters, be like, okay, we can't eat anything that's like too close to humans, like we can't do cannibalism and stuff. And I kind of thought that was a nice little rule they had. And I remember there's like one of those ghosts, and like somehow the ghosts they used the ghosts to like make ice cream somehow because they chilled stuff. It's like, oh goodness. But yeah,
Oh, yeah. One. I think one of my favorite bits was like they get attacked by ghosts and they end up. Well, the dwarf pulls out a lantern that kills them, and then it turns out the lantern's just filled with like this mix of sugar and a few chemicals. So they just start eating it after that. You know, like everything's food. It's kind of funny.
babe, how about you, Hammerhead? What did the show make you feel anything?
So you brought up some good points. There definitely was some emotional scenes, especially when they this kind of ties in with the follow-up question, so I'll try not to delve into it too much. But when they kind of go back to their original goal, they kind of go through that shift, um, and, like there's the scene with Senshi and what potentially happened to his original team that he was with, I guess you could say. Um, and but then, in that same episode later on, that something just happens and it's super funny. Like I was dying when the transformation episodes was happening when they just stepped onto those mushrooms
Oh,
and
yeah.
since she was since she was an elf. Oh gosh, I couldn't hold it in when when he was like frying the dumplings. He's like, "Achi, achi." He's like, "Oh, it's hot." Oh gosh, that was so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but that happens like the episode right after this emotional scene, and then right after that scene, there's another emotional scene when they finally um yeah I guess we should have said this in the beginning. We're discussing the whole show, so obviously we're going to talk spoilers. But like when they finally decide at the end of the show that they're going to eat the rest of the monster parts of Fallen, and so it's just the human parts because that did not um, go back when she got transformed into. Well, dang, what was the name of it? It's not Griffin.
Chimera.
Um, yeah, the Chimera. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it going along with what you guys are saying, it is definitely relaxing when they were in like more safe areas, but it did a very good job of keeping you drawn in. Um, and so it made me feel that excitement of what's gonna happen. And so it made me feel excitement, made me feel some empathy, and it made me hungry. So um,
Yeah.
it was very
Actually,
good.
sorry, I actually watched it while I was cooking, so it went hand in hand.
That's probably a safe bet. Um, you know, it's not like a show like what was that Notorious Food Wars? I think it's what it's called. Where the food might look good, but then it's like very stupid later on. So, well,
Oh, yeah, I kind of watched that show. It got stupid later on.
Food Wars,
Yeah.
where when they eat the food, it like makes them like their clothes explode.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought you were going with because yeah, there's just tons of fan service and it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, but this show did not. Like the majority of the fan service was Senshi. the dwarf. So, but anyways, that's getting off the topic. So yeah, that's what my answer would be for that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'll get into that later.
There we go. But yeah, I guess next question is, how good do you think it was critically, and would you change? Is there anything that you would change about it?
So I kind of wanted to just go first with this, and that's why I was laughing because, like, I'm, how would you describe it? I'm the smallest, the least anime fan here. Like, I don't really watch anime regularly. I really only watch it when you guys or one of or my sister recommends one. So, and I found a few that I've liked enough. I bought them and I watch them from time to time, but I don't like regularly look for new ones to watch. So, like I heard Delicious in Dungeon was really good, but I was like, whatever. So, but honestly, watching through it, I'm like, I'm really impressed with it. Like, the animation is gorgeous. I found out it was done by Studio Trigger, and it's like, hey, they finally did a normal show. I guess, yeah. I remember asking you guys a few weeks ago or a few months ago, even like, Studio Trigger, do they ever make anything normal? Because, so far, I know that they've made two shows that have a lot of like sexual content in them. And like, are they just a bunch of like perverted weirdos? Is this their thing? But no, like here's a show that's gorgeously animated. There's not much fan service. Like I can only think of one example, and it was just done as a joke. So on like aside from that, the characters are likable. I think Marcel, the elf, is my favorite just because she's always freaking out, but not in an annoying way. And like most of all, just the writing really holds up. Like we had a roommate that used to love talking about Chekhov's gun. That was his favorite trope. Just something gets mentioned in passing, and it's just so you're aware it's there, but then later on it becomes much more important. Well, in this show, like, there's a point where while they're hungry, they see a bunch of paintings, magic ones you can jump into. So one of them jumps in to see if he can find food, and he ends up meeting characters that turn out to be really important to the plot. And you have no idea at the time. You think it's just a goofy little thing. And then, um, we were talking about how at the end to save their friend, the main character's sister, who's been turned into this half human, half monster thing, they have to cook and eat the monster parts. I was like, wait. So all of this goofiness about like eating all these monsters, it's led to this, where they realize because anytime a monster is killed, it can be brought back to life by this crazy wizard who's running the dungeon. But they realize if it's been eaten, then it's like it's disconnected from the dungeon. It can't be brought back. So that's why their plan is to like eat the monster parts of this guy's sister so that it can't be used to, turn her into a monster again and save her that way. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it all comes together. I remember even like when she first gets turned into it, they killed this monster earlier and its meat starts rolling towards her. And I was like, what the heck's that about? And then they actually go back to it and explain, yeah, as long as its meat is sitting around, it can be brought back to life. But if we eat it, then it's gone. So, like, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
There we go. Yeah, the way you're describing it towards the end, like this. If you haven't seen the show, this show sounds like super brutal and stuff.
Yeah. Um. So I have a little bit mixed feelings, and kind of with my previous comments, I did have a lot of fun with it, and how good is it critically? Um, there's various websites, but the one I trust the most. There's Aniplex or something. I can't remember. Anilist, yeah. And then My Anime List, which is one I primarily use, but both are fine. The studio itself, out of all the shows that they've made, only one show is higher ranking than this one, which is Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yeah.
Which on this website has a million people that have voted onto it. But then the next one after this is Dungeon Meshi or Delicious Dungeon, which is only behind by 0.03. And it's a little over 500,000 votes. And then they have a few other shows. I guess going back to your point there, Mako. A couple other shows that are a little more cleaner, I guess, is like Little Witch Academia, and
Oh, they did that one.
yeah, that one's really fun, and like a couple Gundam shows, which are pretty good. But then yeah, a lot of them are fan servicey. But anyways, and so critically, a lot of people have enjoyed it in the anime community and a little outside as well. That it was definitely a show that right after it was done, people are waiting for a second season. So it's done really well. The story is fine. The story is finished. I don't know how recently it was finished. I forgot to check that, but it's something that once it starts, like I'm expecting that 500,000 people are automatically going to start watching it again. It's just crazy. But for me, I think I guess some other stuff. The soundtrack was pretty good. It wasn't a huge standout, except a couple scenes. They focused a bit more having it supportive than being, which majority of the music is very supportive. But then when we look at like Violet Evergarden,
Yeah, or Free Render.
yeah, or just Free Ren, same guy that we talked about before.
Mhm.
The music really pushes it. I mean, even another example would be Euro Camp or Laid Back Camp for you plebs.
Oh yeah.
The music really affects the scene, and if it didn't have it, it just wouldn't be as good. But this show did a very good job of having it more a lower support role compared to those type of shows, so it doesn't diminish it. But I didn't say it really emphasizes it. But some things that I didn't really care, and it's a character, and so I will give it to the writers that they kept the characters consistent, and so it's just more personal preference. I don't really care, and it makes sense because it's not like a fast trip, but I don't really care how chill they are. And Senshi, I keep going back to him, but he plays it off really well when he talks about how people use the magic in the show to be like for convenience. But because of like the curse of the dungeon that we mentioned before, people are able to come back to life. Outside of the dungeon, if they die, they die. And that's probably why there isn't like a huge like we need to go. The only one that does that is really like Shuro, which is her Fallen's. Well, he loves Fallen. I don't really care for his character, but whatever. He's fine, but I think he's a little more weak writing compared to the main four, which makes sense because he's not on screen all the time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the other two characters in their old party will have more effect on the story because we see them at the end of the show. But it's like, dude, your sister got eaten. Like a little more urgency, please. It doesn't sound like.
Oh, you mean Laos or Laos or whatever?
Yeah, Liaos, and just in general, like their goal is to save him, and they're like, we have a certain amount of time to go save her. We got like a month or so, and it just didn't feel as urgent. It's like, yeah, you have a month, but I would rather get there in 2 weeks instead of the end of the month, so there's at least more of her. And so that's just the only thing. Later on, watching through the show, like I said, that consistency. Um, and so and then they have those points where they show their emotion of their um, story with Fallen and their attachment to her and everything. And so it's like they are wanting to save her. It's
Yeah.
just, I think they know, if they rush it, they'll probably die. So just be all for naught. But
Yeah.
that was,
And like, sorry.
sorry, I just wanted to finish saying that was the only thing I would say, that I didn't really care for the writing in the beginning, but it kind of waned on me. Different setting story wise. If it was a different show, the urgency would probably show a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that, yeah, they, in a lot of the flashbacks, they do show that Fallon, or however you say it, or Fallon, whatever her name is, they do show that she's like this total sweetheart, like this just pure-hearted character, and it's so horrible all this stuff has happened to her. And in the very beginning, like the only reason she ends up like in that state, well, having having to be healed, and long story short, they basically heal her by, I don't know, using stuff they shouldn't have, and that's what leads to her becoming a monster.
Necromancy of sorts, essentially.
Yeah, because yeah, she was at the point they couldn't just heal her wounds and bring her back to life like everyone else. But in the very beginning, like she dies saving her brother, like shoves him out of the way as this dragon's trying to kill them. So like, you can't help but think that, yeah, she's a great person. It sucks all this is happening to her. You can see why all of them want to save her. So sorry, just another thing I wanted to throw in.
Yeah, definitely agree. I feel like they did a good job. Um, they did a good job showing like her backstory and like showing the flashbacks at like those moments. And I feel like especially like the elf. I can't remember her name. The elf girl,
Or so.
Marcel, I think. Yeah, Marcel. I liked seeing her flashbacks with her and like her backstory with Fallon is pretty sweet and stuff. So, um, yeah, I think one for the show quickly, I really liked how thought thought out it was because it felt like the counters and the recipes they came up with were very like they put a lot of thought into like right or the character the author the manga whoever did like a lot of thinking about how it actually work. And I was really impressed with like the segment of like the living armor actually being operated or being puppeteered by like these mollusks, or I don't know what they're called, but like sort of like muscles operating a clam.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. The mollusks, yeah.
Yeah, mollusks, yeah. I thought that was
Right.
really clever, and it's like, oh, but yeah.
Yeah. And
But
then of course they fry them up and eat them. So it's like it makes it kind of funny too.
yeah, and I liked how I felt like it did a good balance between like lightheartedness and chill, with also like the plot with like the trying to save the sister and like having urgency to it too. So it's like it's a chill slice of life anime, but also like there's a plot that drives it forward that makes you want to keep watching it. And as for something I'd want to change about the show, I think, like you said, Hammer, like the soundtrack wasn't really that um, memorable. I can't even remember like any of the soundtrack beats that sounded good. They think they could put some more work into that, and maybe add some more fan service for Senshi. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. Or like now that you mentioned it, Lemon, uh yeah, it would have been nice if they like treated their whole story, if they treated their whole quest with like a little more seriousness because there's a time limit. So I hadn't really thought of that, but yeah, like maybe like they could have done that without making it overly serious. Like it still could have had the goofiness that it's known for. But I mean, that's all I can really think of because, like I said, I ended up really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of a book. If you're reading it, it's the beginning of the show since you're watching it. Um, and if they did like a 180, well, they did a lot of 180s, but tone wise of the show, I don't think it would have been as well received as it did.
Yeah, yeah, that seems fair.
Cool.
Oh.
Well,
Um, I did have another question. Well, something else I wanted to bring up. I thought the English dub was actually really good. Like that's a rare thing to say, but it's like, I mean, maybe that's just me.
you're about to go trigger Hammerhead over there.
No, I haven't seen any scenes in in the English dub. And maybe a couple on Instagram or something like that. But because it's well made, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Hopefully I don't sound like a hypocrite for any long listening viewers. In the recent years that it's becoming a lot bigger, they have done a more decent job of hiring certain dubbers. But I would never start a show in English unless I did when I was a child, such as Pokemon. I would rather finish it first and then rewatch it in English if I do. Because I'm pretty sure there are some scenes that would be super hilarious. Like, I don't know if you remember Mako. I don't know if you were watching it with us, Lemon, but it was Gamers. And
Oh,
we switched to English dub for like one scene. We're like, what's they're like super crazy right now. Like how it is in English. And it was so funny. I don't know
Yo,
how
son of
I need to read that show because I don't think we're ever gonna get a second season. But uh, I don't know how it was for the rest of the show when there's like more drama or like calm moments. It couldn't have been as it possibly could not have been as good. But
yeah.
that's my thoughts.
Well, one scene that I've been told is kind of famous, like with the dub, is one of the monsters. Well, actually, it's when they first meet Fallon after she's been turned into one. Uh, she's bleeding heavily, and Marcel goes, Fallon, like really dramatically, and then Fallon starts to like tear her clothes off, and it's not done in like a sexual way. You don't see anything that you shouldn't. But as he starts to tear her clothes off, Marcel goes, "Whoa, hey!" Like it's so well done. It's just hilarious. And like we said, like I was saying earlier, it manages these little tonal shifts without becoming tone deaf, I guess.
Yeah, that was like one of the 180 scenes I was talking about. Like, this is a very serious moment. Like, 8 other people just died or going to die, and they're just like blushing. Like, come on, guys! Like, moment, please. Like, I just hope if this was like a real situation, they don't get sanitized. They come out, they clear the dungeon. There's other dungeons, but I don't know if they have the same laws of when people die in there versus in this dungeon. It's completely
Yeah.
different. Um, but they go out and they see someone die. Oh, I was bringing it back. Oh wait, I can't. You know, better. Okay, go ahead. I'm getting off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's mostly what I wanted to talk about on there. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts or remarks about the show?
I'm excited for season 2, which it's been a year since they announced it. But I don't expect it because it just came out in 2024. Uh, Maybe in 2027 I could see it coming out. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, like I'm excited for it too. There's not a lot of shows nowadays that can manage a monster of the week format, but that one managed to do it. And like I said, it's like it's not just the fun of seeing these monsters, it's also the fun of seeing what they get cooked into.
Yeah.
Like they kill a kelpie, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a kind of a watery horse from Scottish folklore, where the idea is it'll like get you to jump on its back and then it drags you underwater and drowns you and I don't know, eats you or whatever. But in the show, they kill one and then they're like, all right, let's grill it. So they grill the tail and the liver and the ribs. And they're like, oh, yeah, the rib meat tastes like this. Oh, the tail meat's it's chewy, but it's really good. And, then not long afterward, they fight this water spirit called an undine. So after a lot of work, they managed to kill it by boiling it back into normal water, if that makes sense. And then they use that to make a soup with the leftover kelpie meat. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's fun. So like I look forward to the meals they cook, like as much as the actual story beats. So yeah, sorry, really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the second season. Coming from a non-anime fan.
There you go. I'm pretty excited for it too. Um, I just had one last thought before I forget. I did like the character design. One thing that annoys me about anime is that a lot of characters kind of have same face syndrome, where like you can swap out their hair and it's like the same character. But I feel like they did a good job actually making the characters stand out, just like visually and stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
last closing thought on there. Anyways, any last thoughts before we end it?
No.
Now, just next episode will be, what is it, Dark Crystal? Is that right?
Yeah. Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Yeah, so the TV show that was put out by Disney,
No, Netflix.
Netflix. So look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for joining us today on the Sharkbites channel. We'll see you again next time, and hope you have a good one.
Bye.
Bye bye. Watch our other stuff.